Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. We are finally back after our break with the next installment in the God Valley incident. We have rolled on now from Harold's backstory into what happens at God Valley. We are finally finding out who was involved, what actually went down, and it is crazy to say the least. Like, we saw parts of it in Kuma's devastating backstory, and we only saw his perspective of things. So we got snippets of what it was about, like, the game being set up and the slaves and the celestial dragons, like, hunting them. But now we are getting everyone else's perspective on things. And we jump around a lot here between obviously all the key parties now involved. And this is like everyone's prime, pretty much. Like, this is like the pinnacle of like the major incident at sea during this time in the world. And we need to talk about it because it is crazy. So, without further ado, chapter 1161, a love ballad in a hail of arrows. A very romantic chapter gesture from over there. But we are spoiled. We have a colour spread of all the straw hats. There's like a claw machine theme going on with like toys of characters. And then we have a cover story of Yamato's pilgrimage, and they have returned and they are with Kinemon and Momonosuke now, and they are praying at the resting place of heroes. So, certainly bringing Yamato's journey to a close here of exploring all of Wano. We don't necessarily know the time span, but I'm going to assume it's close to, Egghead arc sort of length, maybe, of like journey, of like how long the Straw Hats were travelling to Egghead, and everything that happened there is maybe how long it took Yamato to go around. Who knows? But last we had left off the start of the God Valley incident. The Celestial Dragons hunt game had begun at God Valley, a place that was found to have members of the Davy clan, the long forgotten family, long hated family by the world government, ancestors that had caused something in the past. Their lineage, their clan, resided at God Valley, and they were part of the special rabbits that were declared amongst the Buccaneers and other members. And it was only by a twist of fate that this happened, because Garland stumbled upon this island on his return journey, found out about this clan's residement, and sired some children in the meantime. So when he returned to start the God Valley hunt, we saw him meet Shanks and Shamrock's mother, and he looked at his kids and he was like, wonderful, they're going to come with me, you're not needed anymore, and killed her, basically, at that moment. She managed to cling on to some life, in which she then begged Dragon, a young dragon, fresh into the Marines, couldn't really grasp the situation properly of what they were doing. And the more he was exposed to the horrors here, the more he was like, this isn't right. He found Shanks's mother, and she pleaded and begged to save her two kids, to not let him take them away. So we jumped around in that chapter. We saw like a young Gunko there on the island beginning her hunt. Summer was around, obviously. We saw, obviously, baby Shamrocks and Shanks who were involved, which is so interesting that now I've only realised that I'm speaking this out loud. Shamrock is the head of the Holy Knights, and all the other Holy Knights seem around the same age as Shamrocks. But right now we're seeing them all, and Shamrocks is still a baby, or at least Gunko seemed the same age, and she kind of looks the same age here, so whether something funny's happened there. But yeah, some is older and the other ones as well. But there's been enough time passage for Shamrocks and Shanks to have grown up and Shamrocks to have taken charge now of the Holy Knights. Certainly interesting. But Dragon, on his escape, saw Ivankov's speech that we'd saw in Kuma's backstory. We see that obviously Rox and his crew arrived. We had found out that Rox is a Davy clan member. His real name is Davy D. Zebek. Rox is just a name he came up with, which is a super cool name he's called himself. Roger arrived. They're all planning to save Shaki. So obviously the Celestial Dragons go into a panic. They're all starting to flee. The Holy Knights of God kind of assemble to kind of thwart off any pirates that come their way. And then we ended that last chapter with the arrival of Garp. So all of the major players, the ones we know of, have arrived, and we can see that things are starting to take effect. The chain reaction has begun on the island of God Valley itself. So we begin this chapter with the island in just absolute chaos. This inescapable flashpoint now where motive and fate have erupted into a battlefield of nightmares. And it is chaos. All the pirates are going at it. They're all trying to save Shaki and, lay claim to it. They've all decided that the one who saves Shaki is the one who gets to be with her and stuff. But we can see that the obnoxious upper elite of the Celestial Dragons are still demanding their treasures. They're blaming the Marines for not dealing with this, and there is a whole evacuation plan happening, but it is just chaos. We can see the slaves who were on the island are like, look, this is our chance to escape. And we see those major figures start to make their move, looking for Shaki. We see Rox literally saying to himself, doesn't say it out loud obviously, and is like, teach Eris, where are you? He's looking for his wife and child. We knew this from obviously when he spoke to Harold privately. Rox isn't here for Shaki. It was just a big happenstance. He's only here because he heard the name God Valley, and that is where his family is, because that is where the Davy clan have originated his homeland. He thought they were safe here. Rox is going to end up dying at some point during this to save his child. Maybe his wife, we don't know, but we've got finally a name for Teacher's mother, Eris. Garp also seems to be specifically hunting Roger at this point. He could have looked for anyone, but Roger's the one he's trying to call out for here. But we do see our young dragon back in action, just barreling through the tree line, trying to escape, looking for Navy ships. He doesn't know where they've gone or moved. And all of a sudden, a giant laser beam pierces through the trees and just obliterates his shoulder. Full on takes him out, and we see perched behind him, on all fours, is the large Holy Knight woman with the horns and black and white matted hair. They have just spat out this laser beam attack. It's 100% the work of some sort of dragon devil fruit. It was seriously powerful, and they give me a dragon aesthetic the way Oda's drawn them. But we get a confirmation of name. This is the God Knight of the Satchel family. This is Saint Maffy. And Maffy here, this woman, is just all about business. She's like, we're good, we're fine. I've saved the child. This young upstart was trying to steal a child for some reason. Don't worry, we've managed to get it. And she's talking to someone on the end of the transponder snail, and they're like, Maffy, you're a lifesaver. Garland would have fucking killed me here if this had happened. I'm glad you've saved them. If you bring them back, we're all good to go. And they're like, wow, who would have thought, Garling, the guy who is such a prick, would have sired a child. It's strange, but guess what? I'm not really here to question it, but strange that like this guy would want to kidnap them. So we can see Dragon is like obviously hugely wounded here, but is like reaching out, trying to stop this woman from like hurting the child. He's like, look, I made my promises to this woman to save her kids, and I can't even do that. Like, I helped set up this twisted murder game. And he kind of goes into that sort of acceptance. He's like, maybe this is what I deserve. You know, I set this up. I aided this. The place is now covered with dead. Maybe this is right for me. And then Maffy gets bisected amongst all the trees as well. And we just hear a cry of someone being like, out of my way. And we can see Malfi just literally screams out, goes down, cut in half. We know the God's Knights operate in a very different mentality. She'll just reform. But we see young Whitebeard had annihilated like a good like 2-3 kilometers of trees and Malfi, and by happenstance accidentally saved Dragon here. And Dragon is like on the floor still, but we really do get a good perspective of how big Whitebeard and Big Mum are. Like, Dragon's on the floor and he's like, Jesus, they're big people. Like, he's like, holy shit, they're huge. And they're walking past and Linlin's like, come on, like, you were clearly aiming for me with that attack. Like, you could have killed me. And he's like, oh, pack it in. You know there's a whole other pirates here. I was aiming at the enemy. You know I'm not aiming for you here. And we can see that Shiki then arrives from one side. Kaido shows up. And obviously they're all still at odds. But then a like huge like gang of other pirates are like, there's the Rocks. There's the Rocks crew. You know, we can take them down here. We'll be famous. Like, imagine that. We take down the Rocks crew. And through the tree line you can just see the four shadows. And they look at each other and they're just like, seriously? We just get this cool panel page of Rocks, well, his crew of Kaido, Shiki, Newgate, and Big Mum all just annihilating in a circle together. Like, what a formidable four to have here. And people are like, yeah, maybe we were wrong. But we see Malfi is quite easily reformed and has got a child in one grasp. And we can see, you know, Dragon is like, I can't believe it, I couldn't save the baby. And then looks down and obviously another child, Shanks, is still there on the floor, and he's realised that he might not be able to save both. He could certainly save one. Malfi wasn't informed of twins. Child, she was like, I've got the child now, I'm done, I'm good, we can go. And at a perfect timing, because out of the sky descends Garp. Literally a prime fishing spot. He absolutely does his sort of signature galaxy impact, like explosion into the ground. And it is incredible to see. Like, it's not on the strength of what we saw at Hachinosu. Like, when we saw it at Hachinosu, it was certainly an explosion. This time round, it's like just trying to impact this area here. But we see the four members of the Rocks crew here, the Whitebeard, Big Mum, Kaido, and Shiki, are all like, oh shit, it's Garp. Yeah, we're just going to leave. They're like, we're not going to tussle with him. As like interesting as the fight would be, they are like, we've A, not got time, and B, Garp is too formidable. Like, the fight would just drag on. We're not here for this. So Big Mum rallies Prometheus and Zeus. Interesting point. Zeus is now with Nami. Will Zeus ever come out now when this information comes out about God Valley and just says, oh yeah, like, I was there? Anyway, Prometheus and Zeus chain attack, annihilate the spot. Like, a nuclear explosion centered on Garp, and we see Dragon for the first time ever in this series. Dragon acknowledging like dad. At first, it caught me so off guard. I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, like it's Garp." Like I was like, well, "Who is he saying dad to?" Garp gets annihilated on the spot, and Oda does it again. Through the smoke and the ash that is caused, Garp looks like an absolute menace, and he's like, Linlin, this isn't hot enough to cook a prime rib. Like, you need to get hotter here. And she just goes, fuck. It's so good. Like, Garp is in a position now to like really cause some damage and like fear. What happens for him and like Roger to team up, as we know, it's gonna be something different. But Malfi's like, right, baby secured, I'm on the way, like I'm getting out of here. They're like, right, yeah, I'm forever in your debt. I don't want Garland to find out. Let's just meet up. So we don't know who it is on the other end of the phone who lost the children who were protecting them. But nevertheless, they seem grateful. But we see that Dragon has indeed taken Shanks, we assume it's Shanks, away. Little cog on his head, bless him, but is like, look, I can't help your brother, but I can certainly at least save you. So we do see, just before we look at other plans, the other Holy Knight with the hat, we still don't have a name for them. We know they're from the Manmeya family. They are operating as a sort of sniper, and the way they talk operates in that way. They're like, look, no one's going to escape my watch here. We can see they're using like the sniper or the gun they've got to like absolutely massacre down a like line here. So this person seems to be very proficient with weapons and more often looks to be like the sniper of the Holy Knights. And as I'd said, we move on to Marines talking about the evacuation plan. They're like, look, we are pinned in now. Roger's coming from one end, Rox is coming from the other. We need to go that way. We are backs against the wall now, like, what's happening? And we can hear Roger arriving, being like, looking for Shaki. So the town where, you know, all this was taking place, or the main part, is central to the two mountains. So all the buildings where Shaki's being held is slap bang in the middle of the two giant mountains of God Valley. And what we see is all of the Roger pirates arrive, all of the Rocks pirates coming in. We see, you know, Silverax and others who are arriving as well, Gloriosa, all wanting to save Shaki here. And when I tell you this next sequence of events is some of the greatest things I've ever read, is absolutely understated, because Summer arrived first. Summer is like, guys, don't worry, you walk away, leave her to me. Walks into the room where Shaki is being held prisoner. She's still chained to the ground here. And Marines have come into this room and have been completely annihilated by Shaki. Like, she has done some pretty formidable kicks, these guys, and they are out. And he's like, really? Like, she's chained up and all of you still couldn't deal with her? Like, really? And she's just like goading and being like, sounds like you've got a busy time out there with all those pirates running around. And he's like, how distasteful. And he just backhands Shaki, and it's like, there's nothing worse, there's nothing less cute than a woman who knows her worth, because Shaki knows her influence here. Tries to kick Summer and he just catches it. He's like, really? Brings out his like thorn staff, that, or like Kanabo, that we've seen him wield before, and just annihilates Shaki. Like, she is like bleeding, she's down, and he is enjoying the torture of this aspect now. He's goading, he's gloating, he just is like, all these people are here to, like, you know, want to save you, to claim you and all this, but he's like, ultimately Garland is going to be the one to claim you as his wife. And, it really rubs me the wrong way. Like, maybe it would be more fun just to kill you. Like, think about it. All these people have come here all this way to save you. How unfortunate it would be for them to fight through hell itself, arrive and find their beloved mangled corpse of you. And it's like everyone is fighting outside. We see Roger and Whitebeard are clashing, explosions are happening, the chaos is in full, like, peak maximum output. And Summer is just loving this moment of torture, is really dragging it out. Everyone is like caught up in the fight, and Roger's like, look, damn it, we can't get out of this, our hands are tied. I'm going to leave Shaki to you. And a single figure jumps through the crowd towards Shaki's like prison cell here. And Summer's like, damn, seems like they're just outside now, but it's going to be too late for them, Don't worry, I can ease over Garland. We can chalk this down to an accident because there's other Marines stood nearby, like, being like, it's Garland, I'm going to accept it. And he's like, oh, just shut up, like, it's an accident. But he's like, oh, just look at the face you're making. All of the hope you have has been snuffed out. And he's like, this just ain't the fairy tale that you expect. No one is going to turn up. You have not got a hero in the final moments to save you. He's like, I'm going to give you 5 slashes. Savor this pain as your wishful thinking drains out of your blood. Summer has become the most maniacal Holy Knight we have seen so far, and I am with it. He is ruthless. He is the like quintessential dark, twisted, evil character that was necessary for like everyone to like hate him, and he's certainly there now. So he's ready. He's literally ready to swing from behind. That shadow figure appears and just says the most beautiful encapsulation of how we are feeling in this moment. And he's like, look, I'm about to send you to the darkest shadows of the underworld. Summer spins and we see the transcendent Hegan crescent. The red spider lily attack of Rayleigh. Rayleigh comes in and just annihilates Summer in one swift motion, looks Shaki in the eyes as he puts away the sword in one motion, cuts the chain away, and is like, remembers the message from the Reaver card. And he's like, Shaki, I'm sorry for the delay, but I'm here for you now. And Shaki's in tears. She leans into Rayleigh. They're both like embracing on the floor, like bawling their eyes out. And she's like, I was so scared. Like, I can't, like, you're late, Ray. Like, why would you do this? And he's like, I'm so sorry for letting it come to this, but I'm here now. I will never, ever. Outside, Roger and Gabon are crying as well in this moment, but are like, look, save it for later. We don't have time for this. As the rest of the island is literally going to become this war-torn battlefield. And we just hear like, right, we've secured Shaki. She is safe. Grab the other treasure and let's get out of here. And that is where the chapter concludes, with Shaki being saved by Rayleigh. Our hero, our guy, is here. And it's so good to see. Like, even like, as angry as he may be, Roger and Gabon are like really proud in this moment that he like is there to save her. And it's beautiful. Like, we've seen them throughout the series together, and this is why they're so good together, Shaki and Rayleigh. So what a wonderful time. What a fantastic chapter. As like dark as it went in some parts, this was actually crazy to see. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this chapter, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.